We've been working through a set of blog posts and videos that all cover the steps involved in creating an online marketing strategy for your small business. So a big part of that strategy is centered around content. So there's the element of content that relates to what content you are going to create, because you do want to have some kind of original content that you as the business owner are creating for distribution on your various online marketing channels. Then there's the element of planning your content calendar and your posting that involves and pulls in all of your online marketing tactics, which could be your social media accounts. It could be your email newsletter, your blogs, podcasts, all of those things that you have tied to your brand. But the other part of your content strategy is really deciding on the nature of the content that you are going to share for yourself. So there's really kind of three parts of this that you need to break out. The content that you are producing is a reflection of your brand and what your brand stands for, what your brand believes in. There's an element of the voice of the brand that you have. And you just want to make sure that the messaging that is coming out of your various social media or online marketing accounts is congruent with what your brand represents. So the first element would be visual. So when you are figuring out your content strategy in your content mix and planning that calendar, it's important for any of the social media posts that you're doing, or say like images or graphics that you are using on your blog posts, or even like say if you're having a website built, or maybe you're going through a rebrand on your website, even sort of the vibe, like the look and feel of the images that you are selecting, plus any other kind of design elements. You want to make sure that it all gives off the same impression about you and your business. So for your social media posts and those images in your blog posts, you want to think about like what fonts you want to use when you create those images or those graphics. You want to think about your brand colors. If you are having a website built or you've already had a website built, ask your graphic designer or your website developer for the hex codes so you can get the exact shades of your yellows and blues and greens and reds and whatever colors it is that you are using on your website, so that you can incorporate those to the graphics that you are making. So your fonts, your colors, and then ideally you would also get a .png file, so a PNG format of your logo, so you can add a logo to the bottom corner or top corner or something of any kind of social media posts or other imagery that you are using in your online marketing. So there's that visual element that you need to make decisions on and plan for as part of that content strategy. The second thing is the voice. So the voice is going to be the actual copy that you're writing for those social media posts or in your blog posts, or the videos you're making or the podcasts that you are producing. So your voice should represent your brand, depending how official or silly or goofy or corporate you need to sound. If you feel like when you talk to people you're very conversational and casual, you don't want to have this super uptight or fussy kind of vibe that's coming out of your visuals or the copy of the posts that you are making. For some industries, especially if there's compliance factors in play, you're likely going to have more rules and more limitations as to exactly how you can say what it is that you do or the services you offer. It's probably going to have to be more dry. You probably can't take a more humorous approach to things if you are in a more regulated industry, just because that doesn't make sense for your industry and you might just not be allowed to. So voice is another thing, because you don't want someone to, say, follow you on 2 different social profiles, then read your blog and then get your newsletter, and they feel like there's 3 or 4 different people talking to them, and there's no congruency in the messaging and the vibe and the voice that's coming through on all of those platforms. So we have the visual branding, the voice, and then the last is the nature of the content itself. So this is something that if you are brand new to social media or even brand new to business, that's where usually I find the challenges with clients is that they haven't gone through the exercises of, say, really thinking about what their brand stands for. Maybe they haven't even built a website yet, and you really need a website if you want people to take your business seriously. Plus, your website is something that's owned by you versus these social profiles that, these platforms can change the rules overnight, and you can just be completely SOL because you can't control Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter and Instagram and all of these kinds of things. So if you haven't built a website, you might not have actually kind of worked through what your brand means and what your brand stands for and what your brand's mission is. And you haven't verbalized, either in written form or actually out loud, how you would describe your services and how you're going to go ahead and talk to your ideal customers. Because this is really critical, particularly if you are a new business or a startup and you are trying to hire different consultants, different vendors to provide services for you, because you might have a graphic designer and someone that's helping you with marketing and someone who's actually building your website. Maybe you're talking to a ghostwriter to do blogging. And when you start having all these different kinds of service providers that are working for you, you need to be the one to give them direction. Yes, they can help you by saying, here's my recommendations. Here are some suggestions for different kinds of content. Here are some ways that we can, approach creating graphics. A big helpful thing to do is if you do work with a consultant or your website designer, just depending what the service is that you're looking help with, you look at what competitors are doing, like direct competitors of you. See what their websites look like. See what their social feeds look like. See how they're approaching visuals like videos, images, graphics that they're making. And that can help you to kind of get a feel of different possibilities, but also can help you to kind of decide, I don't like this, I do like this. This type of content is, no, that doesn't jive. This other kind of content, yes, that feels good. That feels like it's really in line with what I believe as a company and personally. If you rely too much on all these other people making these decisions for you, you're not in control of your brand. You're not in control of your business. You're not in control of your messaging. And things can get really messy and really sloppy. And you end up making more work for yourself because you're going to get months down the road and then realize, well, gosh, these social posts that are going out, they don't really align with what we believe in our brand message. They don't align visually with how we're presenting ourselves on our website or on this other social platform. Or the content doesn't correspond with the stuff that we blog about or make videos about or podcast about. So, as a small business owner, you have to run all aspects of the business. And most small business owners do need some degree of outside help, but it's really important that you first, before you start marketing yourself, before you start putting yourself out there, whether it's your website, your social posts, your podcast, your blog, whatever it is, you need to make decisions as to who you are, what you believe, and what you stand for as a company, and what kind of content that's going to come out of your accounts and out of your blog and be put on your website. What stuff actually means something to you and corresponds with what you stand for. It will be, even though I know it's a lot to think about and make decisions on the front end, it absolutely will pay off in spades later on versus having to reel all that stuff back in and then make some decisions, which then you have to go, there's just so much. There's just so much that will happen if you do this in the reverse order. So remember, you are still the business owner. You control your brand. Don't be asking all these other people who you are hiring to make decisions for your brand for you. You need to decide about you and then pull in these people to help you and plan your content and plan your strategy execution, regardless of what that online marketing strategy is. Thank you.